All right, hello, and my name is Tanisha. I'm here to start a record of my journey. I will be actually, as of Monday, December 2nd, having the gastric sleeve complete in aid to my weight loss journey. So I wanted to go ahead and document this. I had some pressure from my family, who thought it would be a good idea, and I do too, to, help hold myself accountable and, get support, from people that have already gone through it, maybe provide some insight to people that are considering going through any type of gastric bypass, to help, with the weight loss. So, thank you guys, for allowing me to start a platform. I'll give you guys a little bit of background about myself. So, I am 35 years old. I'll be 36 come February. Aquarius gang. But I have struggled with weight my whole entire life from, the time that I can remember being young. I've always been heavy. Excuse my nose here. I scratch myself, so it's a little bit pink, and I can see it in the camera. But anyway, so since childhood, I have struggled with weight, and I've always been fairly confident, with myself. And at this point, being 35, I'm getting older, and I'm having a lot of other health issues that I know, my weight is definitely contributing to. Probably, let's see, this all started back in about 2007. I herniated some disc in my back, and oh my goodness, it was the worst time of my life. You can never pass judgment on someone if you don't understand, what they're going through, and that is something that I would never wish on anyone, not my worst enemy. So yeah, back in 2007, that happened. I got, MRIs, all this. I was pretty much in bed for 4 months. I couldn't move. At that point in my life was the first time that I really truly experienced depression. I was I cried all the time. It was not only the pain, but me, myself, being such a independent person. I couldn't do anything for myself. I remember one day I was just in my apartment laying on the floor, like watching TV, and I couldn't get up, literally. I laid there for a few moments, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? My phone was out of reach, so it was horrible. But I took my time, I struggled through it, and I was able to get up. So with the herniated disc came pain medicine. I was given Percocet, Tramadol. I was taking up to 3, 4, 5 Percocet a day on top of the muscle relaxer, the Tramadol. And the worst part about it is it didn't help with my pain. It gave me that buzz feeling, or the feeling of, being high, but I still was in pain. It didn't help at all. So, I did do that a few years, going back and forth, talking to my doctors. We tried, the shots, the epidural shots in my back, and that gave me some relief, but they usually last about 6 months, and then I was in pain again. So it was very difficult. It got to a point though with the pain medicine that I couldn't even take it without vomiting bile, like just straight bile. So at that point, it was like the feeling that I had inside, I was getting acid reflux. It was just horrible. That was, worse than anything the pain medicine was doing for me. So I went ahead and just kind of stopped taking it. And around that time, I was introduced to marijuana, medical marijuana. I'd always been drug free, I grew up in the era of DARE, and it was big time, like, don't do it. I still have some like books and stuff from my youth where, they give you those anyway. But I was desperate. I was in a situation where I just didn't know what else to do. So actually my brother-in-law, he is the one that was like, just try it, sis. If you don't like it, at least you could say it's something that you tried. And through the use of marijuana, I actually was able to get up and start moving again. It really helped. So I became a big advocate of medical marijuana. It's pretty much been the only thing outside of the steroid injections in my back that gives me any type of relief or allows me to get up and be functional. So that helped. I kind of steered away from the pain medicine because, like I said, it wasn't helping. So fast forward, a few years, I dealt with the pain constantly. And like I said, if you haven't experienced it, you don't understand, and I'm sure there's other things out there that are painful and horrible that people deal with all of the time. And, it's just about showing compassion, because I really think, sometimes people can look at you and think that you're using it as a crutch, or, you're just being a crybaby. But like I said, it was just the most unbearable pain. I went through a time where, and believe me, I'm not suicidal. I wasn't suicidal, but in my mind, I felt like I would not be able to live with the type of pain that I had every day of my life. So it became scary for me. But like I said, the marijuana definitely was a life changer, and it really did help me and allow me to function again. So, I've to get back on topic with the weight. Like I said, I've kind of struggled with it all of my life, and I've tried every kind of fad diet that you can think of. There was one like the 6-week body makeover. I tried phetramine. I tried, slim fast, just trying to eat better and be a little bit more active. The activity, though, it was really hard for me. I couldn't move, and I tried very hard to fight through the pain. And at my heaviest, I hit 400 pounds, and I was like, wow, this has to stop. I can't do this. I know it's not good for my back, or me at all. I want to be around for my family and for myself. So, I struggled through the pain, and I was able to lose 60 pounds at that time, and it was great. It felt great. It was an accomplishment that I've never had, and I felt good. So anyway, I had considered the weight loss surgery. I started going through the process with my insurance, which, the process is crazy, and I think with any insurance is probably different, but like with my insurance, it's required 6 months of weight management. You weren't allowed to gain any weight. And I had went through it the first time, and I think I got to probably month 5, and there were some changes in my insurance and different requirements. And unfortunately, at that time, I couldn't afford the procedures and stuff that were being called for. And I stopped. I let it go. I became discouraged. And, I tried again one or two more times, and again just kind of failed, because with me, and on top of some of the other problems that I will get into with my health, my weight fluctuated a lot. I could easily fluctuate between 5 and 10 pounds, like that. And, it was hard. So with that, going into my appointments, maybe I would be 1 pound over. And I remember at one point, the lady's like, take off your bra, take off anything extra that you can so you can meet your weight. And again, I went through about 4 months of that. I became discouraged because of the fluctuation in my weight, not being able to control it, and I stopped. Throughout this time, other things developed with my health. I constantly always had acid reflux. I always had stomach pains, the pain in my back, and then my knees. I started having some severe pain in my knees. So I dealt with it. I dealt with it as much as I could. I seen a lot of doctors, and again, to each their own, but some doctors kind of just passed judgment. To me, in my opinion, it was more like, well, you're overweight. And I'm like, I understand that, you know what I mean? But that's not helping me. I'm letting you know, like, the pain is out of control. I don't know what to do. So, again, it was more about prescribing pain medicines and things that just weren't helping me. Depression kicked in, family issues happened, just everything, stress of life. And I ended up gaining the weight that I lost back. So again, that becomes very depressing. It's just, this is something I didn't have control of in my life, and it was hard for me. So other things, come into play. Like I said, with my health, I was diagnosed with PCOS. I've always had irregular menstrual cycles and heavy, like, just horrible menstrual pain. So that put a lot of pressure. It was weird. It felt like it put a lot of pressure on my back. So anytime that I was having a period, it was just horrible. It made my back pain, 10 times worse. Well, with PCOS and everything else going on, my weight being a factor, my periods stopped. I was put on birth control to try to help regulate them. And it just, with that period every month, the pain that I was in, it wasn't worth it. I was missing work. My sister, who is a registered nurse practitioner, she's always constantly on me because she deals with women's health and the things that can go wrong and be wrong. And I had to weigh my options. And to me, in my opinion, the pain that I received from having a period wasn't worth it. So I stopped taking the birth control. Mind you, I'm going to get back on track. Once I get this surgery, it's supposed to help with any type of menstrual issues you have. So if it doesn't correct itself on its own, I will be following up with my gynecologist. But on top of those issues, like I said, I was always sick to my stomach, having the back pain and the knee pain. It was just horrible. So I live, like most, I'm not the richest person, and medical bills are very expensive. So I kind of had to pick and choose, different procedures that maybe my doctors wanted to do or suggested to do. I couldn't afford, even with insurance. It was very hard. So, I have to wait. I have to scrounge and save. And finally, when I get the chance to do it, I'll do it. So with progression, I was slowly learning additional things that was, going on with my health. Overall, metabolically, I'm okay. I don't have diabetes. I don't have, things like the high blood pressures and stuff like that. when I was able to finally afford it, I did go ahead and have a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. So they went through my mouth as well as my bottom to check for ulcers and things like that. And it comes to find out I had ulcers, inside my stomach. And this is going to be due to the pain medicine, all the pain medicine that I was taking. That was the reason that I was vomiting the bile, the constant acid reflux, things like that. So with getting that, I was able to be placed on medication that helped with that. And, I'm doing very well at this point with controlling. I have to watch certain things that I eat. Obviously that will flare up, but that it's in a place where it's controlled. So I recently was able to go ahead and get MRIs on my knees, and would come to find out that I have my kneecaps. They actually they're out of place, so they move. They're not in the correct place. So that's putting strain on my knees, and obviously with, again, my weight, I'm adding on to that. It's not helping, and I have some arthritis in my knees as well. My whole back, it's my lower lumbar that is actually has the herniations. And with that, the way that it herniates and it pushes on part of my spinal cord. But I was informed that it's not like, I guess, severe or dangerous at this point in time, so they don't have to do any type of surgery. But I noticed, I was getting a lot of headaches and just a plethora of things. So with that being said, and I'm being very open and honest, and, I understand people will watch this and there's always going to be critics or trolls. That's okay. I'm strong. I have a strong network around me too, so that helps me. But last November, I did go ahead and start the journey again to the bariatric surgery. And, went through, did everything that was required for me. There's different tests and blood works you have to do, a psych eval. I had to do the 6 months of weight management. Again, it's hard because for me, it was a learning experience. When you're so used to eating a certain way, or for me personally, I didn't feel like I ate horrible. I try to eat a lot of veggies and fresh stuff, but I did eat carbs too, and the way I was eating, it just wasn't portioned correctly. I still wasn't getting what my body needed to fuel weight loss. So there's a lot of learning, doing reading, and the bariatric hospital that I'm going through, a doctor that I'm going through, gave me a lot of information. They're great, the nutritionist, the doctor, just to learn about food, learn about, intakes of protein, vegetables, how much carbs to stay away from. They didn't really have me counting calories more than like carbs, really limiting my carbs. So at this point, I've made it to the end. It was submitted to my insurance, and my insurance approved the surgery. So December 2nd is the big day. I'll be having the surgery, and, I am very, I'm confident that everything is going to go great. I am nervous for the future, of what it's going to be like after this surgery, because, it is a life changer, like I said, I understand it's a tool, and I'm still very much responsible for the outcome of this, and making sure that I'm following things the way that I should be. And, I'm hoping once I do drop some of the weight, I'll be able to become a little bit more active and maybe not have so much pain in the areas that I am. But if I do, at least I can go forward in a safer environment if I had to have any type of surgeries or anything like that. So I'm excited, and I just want to share my story. And like I said, I know there's people that have gone through it. There's people that are thinking about starting. I'd love to hear, stories or suggestions, anything that would be helpful. I want to continue to document along the way. My sister wants to go ahead and document me as I'm waking up from surgery, which will probably be a nightmare. I imagine that I will look crazy, but anyway, and share, like I said, tips. After this surgery, I have to actually do a month of just pureed foods, excuse me. So, the way the doctor explains it is you're gonna eat regular food. You just will need to put it all in the blender. It needs to be consistency pretty much of hummus. So that sounds both disgusting and interesting, but I'm here for it and want to try some different recipes. If you have any good recipes that you want to share, that would be great. I want to be very candid, and I will share pictures along the way. I am just looking for positivity. Like I said, I know there's always people out there that are negative or going to try to get under your skin, but I feel like it's something that I'm okay with being open about. And like I said, maybe my story can help somebody else, or somebody else can share their story with me and give me some tips and benefits. But I thank you guys for listening to me tonight, and I'll go ahead and continue documenting along the way. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, and have a good night.